It's funny. We talk about productivity like it's this on-off switch. Like if we just find the right hack, bam, we become these productivity machines. But what if it's not about pushing harder? What if it's about feeling good that really unlocks our best work?
You've hit on something really important. Decades of research in positive psychology actually back that up. Positive emotions, like when you feel genuinely joyful or that sense of, I got this. It's not just some fluffy stuff, it literally changes how our brains work, makes us more creative, helps us bounce back from setbacks, and yeah, ultimately makes us more productive.
Okay, so we're not talking about slapping on a fake smile and pretending everything's perfect.
Right.
This is deeper. This is about something that actually fuels us to get things done.
Exactly. And what's exciting is we're not just talking general principles here, we're diving into the material you provided. So we can pull out really personalized insights and strategies. This is tailored to you.
In your notes, you mentioned this doctor who actually left his medical practice to study psychology. What was his story?
So, this doctor, he was at the top of his game, successful, driven, but he was working himself to the bone and feeling like a failure. Even on Christmas Day, he's sneaking in work. He was just crushed by this pressure to do more. And he realized that chasing achievement like that, it was making him miserable.
Oh, I feel that. I think a lot of us get caught in that trap, especially these days. Always on, always hustling. But what did he find? Was there a way out of that cycle?
His research, it led him to this field, positive psychology. He discovered that well-being, it's not something you sacrifice for productivity, it's the foundation. Prioritize things like positive emotions, having strong relationships, a sense of purpose. Your productivity, it actually goes up as a side effect.
That makes sense, but it's a big change from that whole hustle harder
Yeah.
message we hear everywhere. So how do we actually live that? How do we cultivate well-being and still, get things done?
One of the most surprising things from your research, it came from the world of play. You highlighted Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist.
Oh, right. Feynman. He was analyzing, what was it, how plates wobble in the cafeteria. People probably thought he was goofing off.
They probably did. But Feynman, he said approaching physics like that, like a game, with curiosity, it rekindled his passion. And get this, that playful exploration, it directly led to his Nobel Prize winning work.
Okay, so my spreadsheets might not win a Nobel, but I get it. Maybe approaching work with a playful attitude helps us unlock those breakthroughs. But how do we do that when deadlines are looming? It's not like we can flip a switch and become playful on demand.
And that's where this concept of play personalities comes in. Because, see, not all play is equal.
Right, right. Like I love a good board game, but some people, they'd rather go for a run, different strokes.
Exactly. And understanding your own play personality, it helps you bring that playful energy to your work in a way that works for you. You shared some of Dr. Stuart Brown's work, the psychologist who studied play for decades. He found that people, they tend towards one or more of 8 play personalities. The collector, the competitor, the explorer, the creator, the storyteller, the joker, the director, and the kinesthete.
Okay, 8 play personalities. How do we even start figuring out which one
That's
resonates?
what we'll unpack next. We'll explore each one, their strengths, and how you can leverage yours for, you guessed it, feel good productivity.
It's already blowing my mind. Who
Yeah.
knew play could be so productive? I'm ready to dive into these play personalities so we're tapping into our inner child's secret productivity superpowers. I love it. But 8 play personalities, where do we even begin?
Think of it this way. We each have these natural instincts, even in how we play. And Dr. Brown's research, it suggests that when we understand those, we can find more joy, more engagement in everything we do, including work.
Okay, that makes sense. 8 is a lot to get through, though. Can you give me the quick rundown of each one?
Sure thing. Let's start with the collector. They get a real kick out of gathering things, organizing, whether it's information, objects, experiences, structure and order, that's their jam.
Oh, yeah, I know a few collectors. My friend who collects, vintage postcards, definitely a collector. How would they bring that to their work, though?
So, a collector might be drawn to things like research, data analysis, anything where they can create systems, organize stuff, project management, archiving, even curating content.
Makes sense. Okay, what about the competitor? I mean, they're, well, competitive, right?
They are, but it's not always about like beating other people. Competitors are all about the challenge. They want to be their absolute best. Hitting goals, pushing past their own limits, that's what really lights them up.
So they'd be in their element in a high-stakes work environment.
You could say that. Sales, negotiations, anything with clear ways to measure success, they usually crush it. They're energized by hitting those targets, exceeding expectations.
I'm starting to see how understanding these personalities could be really helpful. Okay, the explorer, they're the adventurers, right?
Yeah.
Always off on some new quest.
100%. Curiosity is their driving force. New experiences, that's where they thrive. Whether it's physical exploration or intellectual, they're always up for venturing into uncharted territory.
So, like, the ones always planning their next trip, trying new food, going down internet rabbit holes.
That's them. In the workplace, they do well in roles where they can experiment, innovate, come up with new ideas. Research and development, travel writing, even entrepreneurship.
This is fascinating. Okay, we've got collectors, competitors, explorers, creators. They're the artists, the makers, yeah.
Absolutely. They've got this drive to make something new, bring something into the world, and they find so much joy in the process of creation itself, whether it's painting, writing, designing, building, whatever it is.
This one I relate to. That feeling of getting lost in a project. All sense of time just disappears.
Exactly. So for creators, it's all about finding those outlets at work. Design, writing, music, anything where they can express their vision, that's where they shine.
This is giving me so many ideas. Okay, we're not even halfway through. 4 more to go.
Right. Up next is the storyteller. They have a knack for drawing people in. Words, images, emotions, they use it all to captivate and inspire. They're often drawn to crafting narratives, sharing their experiences.
So the natural-born writers, the speakers, performers.
Spot on. They tend to excel in roles where they can really use those communication skills to connect with people on an emotional level. Things like teaching, marketing, public speaking, even like stand-up comedy.
Never thought of stand-up as play, but yeah, it fits. Okay, what about the Joker? Life of the party.
Sometimes. They're all about finding humor in everyday life. They love to laugh, they love to make others laugh, and they use that humor to connect with people, to lighten the mood.
So not necessarily the class clown, but definitely someone who brings a sense of lightness, of playfulness to their interactions.
Yes. And that can be really valuable at work, too. They bring a unique perspective. They can help diffuse tense situations, entertainment, marketing, anything where their humor is an asset.
I'm starting to think every workplace needs a Joker. All right, 2 more. Director and kinesthete. Tell me about them.
Directors are natural leaders. They thrive on organizing, strategizing, bringing people together. They've got a clear vision, and they're drawn to roles where they can take charge and make that vision a reality.
So CEOs, project managers, event
Yeah.
planners, the ones who get things done.
Exactly. The challenge of making an impact, that's what gets them going. And lastly, we have the kinesthete.
The what?
Kinesthete. They experience the world through movement, physical sensation. If it involves coordination, dexterity, being in flow, that's their happy place.
Okay, so athletes, dancers, musicians, anyone who uses their body in a skilled way.
Yes, and they learn by doing, hands-on. So environments where they can move, experiment, those are ideal. Construction, performance, any field that lets them utilize that physicality.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
But what if someone doesn't fit neatly into just one of these? Like, what if they're a mix of, say, creator and director?
Great question. It's actually super common. We're not limited to just one play personality. A lot of people resonate with elements of several.
So it's more about, like, recognizing the main patterns in how we play and then finding ways to bring those into our work.
That's it. Understanding what brings us joy, what gives us energy, and then getting creative about incorporating that into our day-to-day. And the best part is, this isn't about a huge life overhaul. Even small, intentional changes can make a big difference.
This is so empowering, tapping into our natural ways of playing to actually be more productive. It's a game changer. But what about when you're not feeling playful at all? Like you're stuck, overwhelmed, just not feeling it. Can you still tap into play then?
Really important question. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of feel-good productivity. Feeling personally empowered.
I love that. So it's not just about goofing off. It's about feeling capable, in control. Tell me more. So we talked about bringing this playful energy to work, but what about when it feels like nothing's working? Like no matter how much I channel my so-called inner child, I just hit a wall. How do we actually feel empowered to move forward when it feels like we're dragging like a ton of bricks?
That feeling of being stuck, we've all been there. And it often comes down to these 3 big emotional roadblocks: uncertainty, overwhelm, and just plain inertia.
Okay, uncertainty, that makes sense. Not knowing where to start or if you're even on the right track, that'll paralyze you for sure. But overwhelm and inertia, I mean, aren't those just part of life?
They are, totally.
Yeah.
But the key is we got to recognize how they mess with our productivity and then how to deal with them. You know, in your notes, you mentioned commander's intent.
Yeah, that one jumped out at me. It sounds kind of intense though, right? Are we like channeling our inner general to conquer our to-do list?
It's not quite that serious. It's a military concept, true, but it really applies to everyday stuff. Basically, it's about getting super clear on the why, the big objective, before you even think about the how.
So identifying the bigger picture, the purpose behind what you're doing,
Yeah.
that way, even when things get chaotic or you hit a roadblock, you've got that compass to keep you on track.
Exactly. Helps you stay focused on the overall goal no matter how messy the path gets. Super empowering, especially when you're feeling uncertain. Now, for overwhelm, you had some stuff on nice goals, right?
Oh, yeah. Nice goals. I was curious about those. How are they different from SMART goals?
So SMART goals, great for setting specific targets, but they can make you like hyper focused on that one thing or even make you feel defeated if you don't nail it perfectly. Nice goals, they're designed to be more, I don't know, adaptable. It's about the journey as much as the destination.
Remind me what NICE stands for again.
Near term, input based, controllable, and energizing.
Let's break that down. Near term. So we're talking achievable milestones in the near future, not some far-off thing that seems impossible.
Exactly. It makes the goal way less overwhelming. Then, input-based means we're focusing on the actions we control, the inputs, rather than just the outcome, cause that can be influenced by things outside our control.
Right. So not, I want to write a best-selling novel, huge, overwhelming, but like, I will write for 30 minutes every morning. That's something I can control.
Exactly. And focusing on those consistent inputs over time, bam, you're way more likely to reach that big goal anyway. Now, the controllable part, that builds on this. It's about focusing on what you can impact directly, not stressing about the stuff you can't. That's a recipe for overwhelm.
True. Okay, and the energizing piece.
That goes back to finding joy in your work. Energizing goals, they light you up, they tap into your passions.
It's got to be something you're actually excited about, something that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning.
Yes. It's about that sweet spot, skills, interests, values, all align. That's where you're really going to thrive.
Love it. This nice goal framework is great. Definitely a better way to approach things, especially when you're feeling that overwhelm. But what about inertia? Even when you know what to do, you've got a plan, but you're just stuck.
Ah, inertia, the productivity killer. The good news is there are ways to outsmart it.
You mentioned implementation intentions. What's the deal with those?
Think of it as like outsmarting your future self. It's a pre-commitment. You decide ahead of time exactly when and where you'll take a specific action, so you don't have to rely on willpower or motivation in the moment, because that's when inertia usually wins.
Oh, so it's like creating a mental trigger.
Yeah.
It automatically starts the action and you sidestep that whole procrastination trap.
Yes. Instead of, I'll work on that later, which, let's be honest, we all know how that ends, you say, when I finish my coffee, I will work on the project for 1 hour. Boom, commitment made.
So simple, but so smart. You're connecting the action to a specific cue. You've basically hacked your brain to bypass that decision point and overcome the resistance.
Exactly. And you can use this for anything, writing, exercise, even remembering your vitamins.
This is gold. Okay, so we've got ways to deal with uncertainty, overwhelm, and inertia. Anything else, or are we good to go?
One more piece. Don't forget about your environment. Part of feeling empowered is creating an environment that actually supports you.
Right, it's not all in our heads, right? Our surroundings, they play a huge role in how we feel, how well we can focus.
Huge. It's about creating a space where you can do your best work and feel your best. Setting boundaries so you protect your time and energy. Minimizing distractions, those are productivity killers. And surrounding yourself with people who lift you up, inspire you.
Creating that scenius, that supportive, inspiring environment, even if it's just within your workspace, within your home.
Exactly. Take ownership of your space. Make choices that support your well-being, your productivity. Even small things like decluttering your desk can make a difference.
This has been amazing. I feel like I've got a whole new understanding of productivity, not about pushing harder, but feeling better, being intentional. And that's really empowering. Any final thoughts?
Just remember, this is a journey. There's no one right way to do this feel-good productivity thing. Experiment, find what works for you, and keep exploring.
I love it. To everyone listening, embrace your playfulness, cultivate that sense of empowerment, and create an environment that fuels your well-being. You might be surprised at what you're capable of when you prioritize feeling good along the way.